Everyone loves a good movie, especially when talking about old school classics, and for movie tough guys, it doesn't get much better than Kurt Russell. Starring as the anti-hero Snake Plissken in the Escape from New York film from 1981, and then doubling down as the truck-driving grunt known as Jack Burton in 1986's Big Trouble in Little China, it's safe to say there was no shortage of exciting Kurt Russell films in the 1980s. As such, the company Marauder Gun-Runners has geared up a few kit-bashed figures from the ground up, giving us at least the aesthetic for two of Kurt Russell's iconic big screen roles. So let's see how their aptly named New York tour guide and their Chinatown Trucker figures hold up to the lofty standards of today's ever-evolving toy market. Let's begin. The first thing everyone's gonna want to know is, where do we get these figures? Well, what I've done is I've left a link to the Marauder website in the description below. I'll put a disclaimer though that you will need to take a bit of time to scroll through to find the parts you want, and depending how you kit bash, you may or may not get the exact figures that you see on screen. There's a good chance you'll have to improvise a little. Now, every now and then, Marauder will sell these figures fully geared up like this, and that can occur on their website directly or possibly at toy shows, so I've posted a link to their Facebook page. This way you can follow them for the latest updates. These figures did come as a generous gift from an Ohio toy store who I shouted out on a live stream in the past, and I am eternally grateful as these are a welcome addition to the collection. Let's have a look first at the Snake Plissken figure, which Marauder has identified as their New York tour guide so as to not advertise it with an official name, given that it's an assembled kit bash figure anyway. You'll see that the figure is constructed very similarly to the modern G.I. Joe figures that began with their 25th anniversary line from the late 2000s, and the same goes for the articulation, which I'm quickly maneuvering and manipulating the joints to give you an idea of the posability for the figure right here, and so that you can decide for yourself what kind of play and display value you get with such an item. The gun he came with simply was included in the box that was sent to me back in September of 2023, but depending on your preference, you can probably just pick a weapon of your own choice that you feel suits Snake Plissken the best, whether or not you choose to follow the exact firearm that he had in the movies. You can get some other small accessories, such as the little panels and pouches that tab onto the figure, be it on his belt or otherwise. However, these are very small accessories, and you may or may not want to use them. I don't personally think that they're 100% essential to the figure, but they do add a little bit of detail. Do take note of the differences from the movie appearance. For example, his shirt in the Escape from New York movie is of a sleeveless appearance, but the torso of this figure does come with short sleeves, and that's probably not a bad thing to change around, because it's noteworthy that Marauder probably had to do this in order to make the torso more modular and swappable for other kit bash options, as I can imagine a black t-shirt is probably more desirable when you use this torso for other figures. This I Love NY sticker is a nice touch as well, even if he doesn't wear it in the movie itself. A true anti-hero and a cool character of the 1980s. If you haven't already seen Escape from New York, in my opinion, it's a must-watch. And this figure by Marauder definitely fills the gap in the 1/18th figure scale. As we move along and look at what Marauder has aptly called their Chinatown Trucker, this uses a very similar head sculpt, but without the eye patch of the other figure we just showed. And like the New York tour guide figure, this is of a sleeved t-shirt appearance, as again I speculate that it's easier to sell a torso with a generic white t-shirt rather than a sleeveless one, but it still works very well and does nothing to detract from the fact that it looks just like Jack Burton. Also, for what it's worth, Eagle Force is making a sleeveless appearance with the Jack Burton look as well, which is another option if you want this character's likeness in your collection. This Chinatown Trucker does have the blue jeans similar to Kurt Russell in the movie, albeit the jeans in the movie are tucked into his boots, and that's not the case for the figure. Again, probably easier to go with something more generic when you kit bash something together. The sticker is pretty unique as well and has a similar look to the movie, albeit when you look closely, the face detail on the sticker has a bit of a different look from the '86 film. But either way, it does provide something of a feel-good moment just seeing this figure as well as the New York tour guide figure, both representing who we know they're supposed to be in adding such items to your collection. I would be curious in the comments below if you could let us know what your favorite appearance is of Kurt Russell, be it if it's one of these two Kit Bashed movie representations or any of his other appearances such as Stargate, Tombstone, or otherwise. Naturally for me though, I tend to think first and foremost of his everyman appearance in Big Trouble in Little China, followed closely by the quintessential, unique, rogue type of character that he had in Escape from New York and Escape from LA. One thing I'll also add is that I can't guarantee that the Marauder website will have the exact configuration of all times for you to be able to replicate these figures. Ultimately, you may have to improvise a little, and if you're lucky, you can wait to see if they sell these figures fully geared up and kitted out. But as I did say earlier, I'll leave a link to both their website and their Facebook page so that you can keep up with what they're doing. Even just looking at what I've shown here, you may have preferred guns or knives of choice that are different from the ones I have. In any case, I do hope that you enjoyed this video, and feel free to check out some of my other content on the screen right over here. Otherwise, we'll see you all again next time. Thanks again, and take care.